Welcome to Fun Fridays with Ariel Judah. We're streaming live from our dedicated Zoom Intercept feed. We're partnered with the Spirit of the Game Foundation and the World of Ability Network, and also our partner, the Trusted Trade Hub. And we also have Building Trust Podcast. So, a lot of people here, a lot of opportunities to network and build relationships across multiple channels. All right. So, we have made it to the final broadcast of the week. We have spent the last 4 days doing the heavy operational lifting, auditing our numbers on Monday, resetting our tech friction on Tuesday, protecting our stamina on Wednesday, and weaving our network yesterday. Today, we claim the territory we conquered.
Oh no.
So this is not going to be too involved of course. So I want you guys to interject. I want you to actually come in and say, "Hey, I think this about blank. I want to hear more about that. Can you expand on that?" Because I'm getting a lot of feedback from the show, and a lot of people are saying I'm just reading. So today on Fun Friday, please interject, interrupt me. I don't mind it one bit. So we're gonna go over the three things today. So we're gonna go over part one, which is the fun equation, redefining what's fun gets done. We're going to connect organizational enjoyment directly to rigorous accountability and execution. Number two, the core pillars, governance and community readiness. We're going to break down how structural governance and community preparation ensures project survival. And then the third thing is the desk clear command. So the solo closure and rest mandate. This is where you clear out the weekly administrative baggage and enforce the absolute weekend log off. And this applies to everyone. So moving forward. Okay, so let's talk about the absolute law of house. What's fun gets done. Too many builders, founders, and humanitarians think that slogan means we only do easy, comfortable work on Fridays. They think fun means slacking off or abandoning the mission. Let's correct that delusion right now. True fun for a high performing entrepreneur or a dedicated missionary is the deep, uncompromised satisfaction of execution. Fun is looking at a massive, complex project, putting a rigorous project management framework around it, and watching the chaos turn into absolute order. Chaos is stressful. Disorganization is exhausting. Fighting fires every single day because you lack structure is the opposite of fun. It is a fast track to leader burnout. So I really want to hear from anyone. If you've ever experienced like burnout in an organization or just a boring job. Like, has anyone here had a boring job before? Dealt with something boring? Has anyone been bored? No? Kurt, you never been bored?
Never.
Never. You ever been stressed?
Oh yeah, things get stressful. Yeah.
With the praise God, you ain't living in survival mode. That's the main thing is not letting stress, not letting chaos get to you. You're gonna overcome that by creatively solving those problems. So the real momentum becomes fun only when you pair it with relentless accountability. So if there's an issue, I'm gonna do this creative exercise consistently in my life to show those results. And when you know exactly how that's going to work, when your benchmarks are hitting their marks, when your project management systems are locked down, that's when the work becomes the game you're actually winning. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs who gamify their success, who take, games like chess or even Uno, Connect Four, or Tetris, and they take these concepts and they use it to motivate them, or using, conversation, or just creating awards or different systems in their business to motivate them and incentivize yourself psychologically so you're having fun while you're getting ahead. So make sure you make a system. Like if you have a favorite game or a favorite show or movie or something, think about it. Think about how it motivates you. Think about how much you love to play that game that you love, or you love to, go to that specific location or do that fun task. Let's relate the things that we don't like to what we do. All right. So part two is about governance, project management, and community readiness. And please feel free to interject anyone if you like have anything you like to say. So let's dive into the core lesson. So to scale a social equity startup or deploy an impactful humanitarian mission on the ground, you got to master three non-negotiable pillars: governance, project management, and community readiness. First, governance. Governance initiatives are not boring bureaucratic paperwork, they are the guardrails that protect your vision. Governance means establishing clear rules of engagement, defining who holds decision making power, and setting up bulletproof financial and operational compliance. Without strict governance, a project will collapse under the weight of internal confusion and misaligned incentives before it launches. So, second is project management. This is the tactical execution machine. It is taking a massive vision and breaking it down into timeline events, manual verification steps, and daily accountability loops. If you don't have an uncompromised project management framework tracking objectives, your mission is just a sequence of random wishes. So we're going to take a pause there and just expand on that. This is where we bring it back to fun. Your project management is milestone based. You have a result that you want in the end. You're not just doing this to stay in consistent motion of doing it for the sake of it. So you know exactly where your end result is. So you got to make a roadmap with those core things that you need done, right? So what we're going to do is create milestones that are events that are fun for you to experience and enjoy. Not always literally in the form of a mixer here in a room like this. It sometimes will be, maybe a 15-minute, phone call where everybody from the project is able to celebrate wins, at the end of a week, or, having a lunch meeting where everybody's together and just celebrating that. Just being able to not only set those milestones in place, but to create those fun rooms where people actually want to be there and gamifying their success. So they're competing, with themselves and amongst the group in a creative fashion. All right, so the third thing is, and this is where most people fail, community readiness. You can have the best governance on earth and the most beautiful project management charts. But if the local community is not prepared, receptive, and culturally ready to absorb that project, it will fail on impact. So, community readiness means moving neighbor to neighbor, running manual discovery loops, and building unshakable trust before you ever try to deploy a complex system. So I would love to know some big objectives that you guys have had with a project that you're trying to push across the finish line. But you can forever hold your peace unless Kurt, you want to do it.
Definitely can. Is this my time to jump in?
Yes,
Should I
sir.
jump
Yeah,
in?
tell us. Yeah, tell us a big objective that you're trying to push across the finish line, either currently or in the past, and this could be something you haven't solved or have solved about community readiness.
Look, community readiness. Well, the conversation that we had today with our newfound friend from Carbondale, Illinois, that you know, we're looking at, land trusts and community gardens and, being a land steward and so forth. Project I Heart is 20-acre property, a 10,000 square foot facility. So Carbondale, Illinois and McCann, Illinois are in somewhat of community proximity to each other. So it's not that much of a commute. It's um, kind of like Taylor here being in Milwaukee and I'm in Milwaukee. It wouldn't be too hard for us to get together because even though I'm in the village of Lisbon, we're still in some sort of proximity. Same thing with Carbondale and McCann, Illinois. So we're taking what this group is doing in Carbondale and mapping it to what's going in McCann, Illinois with the 20-acre property and looking at beginnings for community gardens on that property and to do time banking and mutual aid and bunch of cool stuff. So that's kind of what emerged just from a couple hours ago.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded like there was a need amongst, multiple like people and organizations to come together to support that large project. And it's basically just a natural progression from seeing a need and filling it and people wanting to be present and volunteer their resources to see that through. And it just takes a little bit of figuring out. And you guys were able to put that together in a couple of hours. And that's what true governance looks like, is a need being filled and not dragging it out, so that's really awesome that you're able to solve your problem and not leave it, hanging. So that's really awesome. Kudos to you to make quick decisions. So yeah, that's really awesome. So it really that really covered the three things. Like the community was involved, the governance was set, and there's people are extremely motivated and excited to take part in that project. So that really falls right in guideline with what we're reviewing today. So yeah, if you lack project management, you are disorganized. If you lack community readiness, you are screaming into a void. Align these three components by hand first, and then watch how fast your momentum accelerates. So cheers to you, Kurt, and best of luck on that project because it's already going in the right direction. All right. So part three, the slate clear and the solo weekend mandate. So basically that means, protect your time and make sure you go into the weekend with a calm mind and really, keep the Sabbath holy and make sure that you got time for yourself. So this brings us to our absolute, close for the week. We've established the logic of our systems, and now we must protect the human machine. So we are skipping games and exercises as solo leaders. Our final task today is to execute the desk clear, and that's for you too, Taylor, because you got off the hook today. But you'll be back on here another time. Um, Look at your workspace right now, the unreturned messages, the unconfirmed meeting times that you might have, the dozens of open tabs on your computer. Those are not just digital clutter, they are psychological anchor weights dragging down your capacity to reset. So you have, like, give yourself 10 minutes when the stream cuts, to kill out every single loose end. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, get it done. Delete those tabs, archive the completed threads, clear your screen, and turn your workspace into a clean, uncompromised launchpad. So here's your final operational mandate for the week. Turn off the professional notifications, close down your streaming dashboards, log completely out of the workspace. An exhausted leader is a broken tool. Your recovery time this weekend is non negotiable. Go hit the gym, spend time with your family, and get your boots completely off the ground. Before we cut the feed today, if you're a high performing founder, leader, running a social equity startup, a humanitarian operator in the field, or just someone who wants to get out and just do God's work, just do the right thing, reach out to me directly via my cell number 615-821-9662. We want your voice in this circle. You can reach out through arieljudah.com, and also through thetrustedtradesman.com to join our Building Trust podcast, where we're talking about building trust and how that longevity shapes powerful relationships that move communities. So yeah, let's all connect it. Let's all get connected and build uncompromised equity together. The baseline is secure, the tech is validated, the network is woven, and the structure is locked. Have an incredible weekend, protect your engine, and never forget the law of the house. What's fun gets done.